before the camps, before the unimaginable suffering, there was a boy in Vienna. His name was Viktor Frankl. He wasn't chasing fame. He wasn't driven by wealth. He was haunted by a single question: what makes life worth living? At 16, while his friends played games and chased dreams, Viktor was deep into Freud, Nietzsche, and the meaning of the human soul. He believed life had to be more than pleasure, more than power. He sensed something deeper, purpose. That question, that obsession, it would become his anchor in the storm to come. He didn't know it yet, but that search for meaning would one day save his life and change millions more. It was 1942. Viktor Frankl stood at a crossroads. He had just received a visa to escape Austria, to flee the Nazi grip. But there was one thing holding him back: his parents. Should he leave and live, or stay and protect? He chose to stay. Soon after, he and his family were deported, first to Theresienstadt, then Auschwitz. In a flash, his wife, his mother, his father, all gone. He was left with nothing but the number tattooed on his arm, and the fire still burning in his mind. What makes life worth living when everything is taken from you? That question, the same one he asked as a boy, was no longer a theory. It was now his only lifeline. Auschwitz was not just a place of death. It was a place where the human soul was tested. Every day, Viktor Frankl watched men fade, not from hunger, not from disease, but from the loss of meaning. And yet, there were others, men who gave away their last piece of bread, men who whispered hope in the shadows. Why did some survive the spirit breaking while others gave up? Frankl began to see a pattern. The ones who endured had something to live for, a child they hoped to see again, a book unfinished, a belief that suffering could be a sacrifice. Meaning was not in comfort, it was in courage. And Frankl realized something profound. Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. Purpose became survival. It was the dead of winter. Viktor Frankl, weak from starvation, marched through the snow barefoot, freezing, beaten. The guards shouted, the weak collapsed. If you fell, you were left behind. And in that moment, something extraordinary happened. Frankl stopped thinking about his suffering and started imagining his wife, her smile, her voice, the life they had dreamed. She was gone, but the love he felt, still alive, still his. In that frozen march, he whispered to himself, "They can take everything from me, but one thing. The last of human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." And in that choice, Viktor found power, not in resistance, but in meaning, not in anger, but in love. It was in that moment, he said, I understood how a man who has nothing left in this world still may know bliss. In 1945, the camps were liberated. Viktor Frankl walked out with a body broken, but a spirit reborn. He had nothing, no home, no family, no possessions, but he had something greater, a message the world needed to hear. In just 9 days, he wrote a book, not a book of blame, but of meaning, not a story of cruelty, but of the human will to rise. He called it Man's Search for Meaning. What began as a quiet manuscript turned into a global force, translated into dozens of languages, read by presidents and prisoners, CEOs and students, because its truth was simple and unstoppable. Life is never made unbearable by circumstances, but only by lack of meaning and purpose. Viktor didn't just survive the Holocaust. He gave his suffering a mission, and in doing so, gave the rest of us a map. From the ashes of Auschwitz, a new kind of therapy emerged. It wasn't about blaming the past. It wasn't about chasing happiness. It was about finding meaning. Frankl called it logotherapy, from the Greek word logos, meaning reason or purpose. Unlike Freud's focus on pleasure or Adler's on power, Frankl believed the deepest human drive was meaning. He said, happiness cannot be pursued. It must ensue as the unintended side effect of pursuing something greater than oneself. Logotherapy became a revolution in psychiatry. It helped suicidal patients rediscover their why. It gave hope to veterans haunted by war. It empowered people stuck in suffering to choose purpose over pain. Frankl wasn't just healing minds. He was awakening souls. He reminded the world, you don't need a perfect life to find meaning. You just need to find meaning in the life you already have. Viktor Frankl lived for over 50 years after the war. He didn't bury the pain, he transformed it. He became a professor, a therapist, a global speaker. He wrote over 30 books, taught across continents, advised presidents, and inspired prisoners. But he never stopped being human. He remarried, raised a family, hiked the Austrian Alps, laughed with students, sat quietly in cafes. His mission was never about fame. It was about reminding each person he met. Your life matters, your pain matters, and yes, your purpose is real. Even in his 80s, he kept asking the same question he asked as a teen. What makes life worth living? His answer never changed. The will to meaning, a purpose that gives the suffering shape. You've heard Viktor's story. He lost almost everything, but he found something stronger, a reason to keep living. And now, so can you. Purpose isn't something you wait for. It's something you choose. Right now, even in struggle, even in confusion, you have the power to find meaning in the love you give, in the work you do, in the lives you quietly touch. Your story is not alone, and your pain is not pointless. Like Frankl said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So today, choose your mission, write your meaning, and live your life like it matters, because it does.